Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at the FR17, which is a Formula 1 style car, and you can see there are a lot of options here. We're just going to start with the default, and we'll look at the other ones later on, because I want to do a lap of a racetrack with a race car, because I can't think of a possible better way to start off this video. Now, I will say, this is one of those cars where it feels like you want to use a racing wheel to really get everything you can out of it. With the controller, it just feels like you don't have enough precision to really drive it as fast as possible. Like, I'm going half throttle this whole time. Let me try to get full throttle right here so you can see how hard this thing pulls. Up to 170 miles per hour right there. And now we gotta slam on the brakes to not crash. Like, when you can actually go full throttle with this thing, it is crazy fast, but it is so fast, it's hard to find situations where you can actually do that safely. Now, right now, I'm actually driving it with electronic stability control off because that's how it spawns up. I would definitely suggest using it if you are racing it with either a controller or with a keyboard. If you're trying to drive this with a keyboard without the stability control, you are a maniac. Like, I feel like I'm a maniac for trying to drive it with a controller without the stability control. You're trying to do it on a keyboard? Crazy, dude. But so far, we're making it. I think we're going to get to the end and do one whole lap, which I am actually really proud of. I didn't know if I'd be able to do that. Don't you dare crash on the last corner, car. Don't you dare. You can crash here. No problem. Ooh, it got popped in the air. That was interesting. What? Okay, you got to rewind that. The tire came off the car and then somehow, by pure coincidence, it rolled back onto the car. That was crazy. And the damage? It seems reasonable. I got nothing to complain about here, so let's reset it. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the vehicle itself. Now, you might remember I did a video for the FR16, and this is basically the sequel to that. And you wouldn't realize just how different they are until you put them side by side. So right there on the right, that's the old FR16, and then on the left, we have the FR17. And yes, they're both Formula 1 styled cars, but the actual dimensions of the vehicle are so much different when you look at them side by side. And then the texturing on the FR17 looks a lot nicer than the texturing on the FR16. And that's all we need the FR16 for, so we can go ahead and remove it and just focus on the FR17. And I'll give you guys a good look at the outside of this because I have yet to do that. And one of my favorite things about this is that it has the controversial T-wing on it. It doesn't have a fancy double T-wing like Mercedes-Benz has, but it does have a T-wing, and if you don't know what that is that extra looking tiny itty bitty wing right there, which may or may not be banned eventually. But I love the fact that it actually has one. It also has a driver in it, and if we go to the TV camera, you can see the top of the driver just like you kind of see in TV, and you'll notice the driver's hands do match up with the wheel, but maybe you're not into that. Maybe you want to be the driver. Don't worry. You can use the cockpit camera, and then it feels like you are the driver. And then you have all these buttons down here, which you can't actually interact with. But one thing you can do is change the screen. So if we hit T, it cycles through the two different screen options. So this one tells you like your water temperature, your oil temperature, your gear, the amount of fuel you have, your brake temperature, all that kind of stuff. And then this one tells you your speed, gear, RPMs, and lap time tracking, which I'm not sure if it actually works. I never tried it. I should have, but I didn't. And one thing I like about this is you can see just how crazy this engine revs. Like, you watch the RPM number and it just goes all over the place when this thing's actually accelerating. Yeah, it's just crazy how fast this thing accelerates. You don't notice it so much in the bottom right because it's just bigger numbers on the gauge, but when you actually see it just jumping all over the place like this, it's like, this thing is crazy with how much it revs up. And then back to the other one, you can see the water and oil temperatures are increasing. It is perfectly functional. And if we drive long enough without crashing, so would the fuel. But I'm not even looking at where I'm going. To be honest, I'm surprised I have yet to crash. So let's go ahead and go to the orbit camera. And I'm going to let you guys listen to this because it does have a unique sound to it. And now we wreck it right into the wall, high speed, and the wheels are somehow still in place. So there's a quick look at the damage, and then we can go ahead and reset it. So we can go ahead and do a couple more crashes here before we move on to a different map, because I also want to see how this performs on the streets and maybe even with the AI's control. I'm curious what the AI would do if you told them to try to drive this. So let's do something different. We're just going to dive right into the grass right there and drive through it miraculously. I thought we would flip over or something. So instead, let's have about a 200-mile-per-hour crash right into this barrier. This one you need a lot of slow-mo on because it's going so fast. So 100 times slow-mo right here. And very slowly, the crash, where the parts just kind of disappear at first because it's going so fast. The driver is smooshed. Then everything else is also smushed. Like, everything is smushed. Rear tires and the wing. That's the only things that are not smushed. We had so much speed, it actually popped us a good few feet in the air. That's crazy. And obviously, that's not going to work anymore, so we'll do a reset. And then, I'm kind of curious, what would happen if we just go and hit a rock immediately like so? We just kind of roll into the air and pop upright. And we look at the damage right here, pretty minimal, although the car is dead. It appears it is not going to drive. So we can go ahead and just reset this and try again for something else. Maybe this time we'll try to ride up on the wall because it seems like it could almost do that. I don't know. Let's see. Can we ride the wall? No, we're just going to get shredded to bits. Here, we going to land upright again, though? Yeah. Somehow we once again land upright. And overall damage there looks pretty similar to last time. So let's go ahead and go to a different map. And I'm thinking let's just go ahead and head to East Coast, USA. And I know most of you out there are wondering, why would you bring an F1 car to the streets? Well, there is a road version of the car that's designed to drive on public roads. It's not that much different than the other one, but if there's a version designed to do this, we gotta try it out. So let's see how it does on the little bit more bumpy roads here. So far, so good. Slow it down to get around the corner. It's funny, when you're just cruising along at 40 miles per hour, the engine basically idles. And then we floor it. All right, let's go crazy here. We're just going to go as fast as we can over this bridge and then possibly fly at the end. Yep, flying and wrapping it right around a tree. Unfortunately, you really can't see much there, so we're going to teleport it back over here and... Yeah, that is not the shape that car started as. Let's go ahead and try this one more time. We're going to wrap it around another tree probably. Let's just go straight this time. If I can keep control of it. Starting to slide on me. Nice flight! Wow. That really flew a lot more than I expected it to. It actually cleared the bridge just by flying over it. And that one got a lot of damage, and that looks actually pretty interesting the way it got damaged up. And you can kind of see the engine here, which you normally can't ever see. Like, the engine is really well tucked away on this car. But if you really want to see it, you just go to the parts menu, and then you hover over engine, and you can actually take a look at it. And there you go. It's actually a custom engine model, as you can see right there. Not super detailed, but considering you almost never see it, it is more than suitable for the vehicle. And then we also have a few different parts. Now, the differences are very, very minor. So we're going to get real close to that wing right there. Look at what that front nose right there. And you see what that nose looks like? Well, that's nose version 1. What does nose version 2 look like? Almost the same thing, but it has just a small difference in the shape right there. And then we have nose version 3, which, again, a small difference in the shape of the nose. We also have different side arrows. We have version 1 and version 2. So let me get a good look at the version ones for you guys. There you go. You can kind of see what it looks like right there. It's that. It just kind of looks like a piece of metal sticking straight up. Then we also have this one, which looks very similar, but it connects to the body right here, where the other ones did not connect back to the body. In fact, the other ones didn't go nearly as long as those ones when you do them side by side like that. Although instead of connecting up, they just have these little slats right there. So in the end, they probably get similar aerodynamic functions. And then that's all really there is for alternative part. There is an additional part you can add, but first, I think we need to fly again. So let's just real quickly pop this thing into the air, and woo, not bad, and right into the tree. Alright, that was fast. Taking a look at that, and then we'll reset. And the additional part I'm talking about is not something you would ever expect to see on a Formula 1 style car. It is a police light bar, so we can go and add that, and it adds police lights everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and turn them on with M. You can see there's some lights on the rear. There's a set of lights in the middle of the vehicle that are on both the front and the rear. And then there's also 2 more sets of lights on the front. There are lights everywhere, so everybody knows you're the police car and out of your way. So if you got a police car, well, what do you do with it? Obviously, you chase another car. So you know what happened here is Blitz Formula R thought they were so good they could drive their non-road legal version of the Formula car on the streets. Not gonna happen. We're gonna take them down. So let's go ahead and go to the apps. Hit the plus. You go to AI control, and we're just gonna say, "Hey AI, go away from me," and we're gonna try to chase them. And we're going to see how well the AI does driving this car. And wow, they're actually taking off on me. Oh my goodness. I think they're just going to crash, right? No. AI can officially drive this car better than I can, I'm thinking at this point. Like, it's just the way the AI drives a car. They are really good at that. Wow. Now, obviously, the only way this is going to end is if either they crash themselves or I take us both down because our cars are so fragile. What are you doing, you idiot? I don't know what you just did. He like crashed into me for some reason, and yeah, that was unexpected. All right, chase him again. I hit him a little bit, but I think all that did was damage me a little. No, I'm okay actually. So I have no idea what that collision did, but you heard a little thunk. Got him, got him, got him, got him. Wow. 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 That thing just shot me into the air. That was absurd. And they are actually way more intact than I am because they didn't go flying into the ocean. So let's go ahead and reset both of these. And then I'm going to see just how fast they'll drive if you actually tell them to drive fast. So I'm going to put it to random. I'm going to put the risk all the way up to 1.44 and see just how much they're willing to push this car. So they're up to 80 and whoop, they're done. You're done. Let's do the same for this guy. Well, actually, let's tell him to chase them. That might be interesting. So like, I just watch. And you'll actually notice though that the road version has different tires than the racing one. The racing one has basically slicks. The road one has road legal tires, I would assume. And well, they don't know what they're doing. Not at all. How is this guy doing? Is he going to crash too? Whoa! This is actually only 1 on the risk parameter. Now, the higher that is, the more crazy the AI drives. So they shouldn't be driving too crazy here, but they are all over the place. Absolutely all over the place. It's amazing they haven't crashed yet. Going 100 miles per hour through the town. Don't even care. What are you doing, AI? Wow. They're actually doing it. I thought they were just gonna crash into a tree immediately. They're like, nah, dude, I got this. Let me just drive through the dirt like an off-road car. And actually, you know what? There is an off-road version of this. Although I don't know if it's necessary the way the AI just says, I got racing slicks on and I'm gonna drive through the dirt until I flip over at like 2 miles per hour and a crash that seemed completely avoidable. I will never understand the AI. They just are so wacky. Sometimes they'll do amazing things. Sometimes they'll do awful things. You're not going to chase them. They're stop. You know what I'm curious about, though? Is what happens when you actually try to pop this thing into the air. And to do that, there's only one map I can think of that has good jumps, which is Grid Map. And one of the nice things about having fast cars is you don't need to back up to do the jumps. So we'll grab the default racing team version of the car. And real quickly, I want to point out, all the cars have a nice little backstory to them. And I would usually read those out to you, but there are so many, I'm just going to go ahead and read a couple of them, like this one. The car manufacturer, Default, joined Formula R as one of the first teams in 1988 and pulled in multiple titles with driver Aylin Toast. After he left Default for MC/MP4, the team wasn't a title competitor anymore. The team struggled to get top 10 finishes and their engines were unreliable. Luckily, this would change soon because they made sure all their competitors would have unreliable engines and crash as well. So here we go. We're going to hit that jump at maybe 100 miles per hour. Yeah, about 100. Whoa. That was interesting. It just dived forward and then got wrecked up. Let's try that again. We'll hit the bigger jump this time. See if it does something similar here. A little bit slower, only 80. I'm flying! I'm flying! And now I'm diving! That looked amazing until I started to dive and crash. Now, one thing you always read on the internet is that Formula 1 cars have enough downforce to drive upside down. Let's see if this one does. We're going to try to drive this thing upside down. First, we need to set up the situation, though, because where are you going to drive upside down here? There's not many places. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit F11 to go in the map editor. And then we'll go to the top left to make sure we're in object mode. We're going to select this tube right here. And then we're going to go and move it using the move selection and just get it out of the way of the debris. So that should be good. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to hit the scale selection. We're going to make the tube even longer because it's not that long, especially when you're going 200 miles per hour in an F1 car. So we'll grab the red one and just extend it a ton. It has to be ridiculously long for convenience. There we go. And then we're going to go a little bit down the tube. As you can see, it goes on for what appears to be forever, so we don't need to go to the end or nothing. But we're going to go down a little bit just to make sure we have lots of room to drive on. So let's stop right about here, and then we're going to hit F11 to get back into the game. And then we're going to hit F7 to teleport the car. We'll go ahead and reset it because I might have got damaged right there from that drop. We're going to make sure ESC is on, and then we kind of got to move it around because it does not want to rotate right here easily. There we go. Come on, don't do that to me. What are you doing? That's okay, we can make it upright. There we go. And now we just got to get it up to speed. So hold the accelerator down and let the stability control do all of the work. And once this thing gets up to about 200, we're going to try to go upside down. All right, about 190, good enough for me. Let's see what happens. Oh, it actually works. Oh, that's cool. We can literally drive on the roof until the engine will die because it's getting starved of oil right now. But that is amazing. I didn't think it would actually work, to be honest, because I tried it with the FR17 and I don't think it worked. So I expected this one to be similar, but nah, this actually is just gliding on the roof amazingly. Like, there is no stopping it until the engine dies. That is awesome. I wonder if it would be any slower driving on the roof versus the ground, like if there is a significant difference or not. I just can't believe it. Like, I am in awe that that actually worked. How long is this tube? I told you it looks like it would go forever, and it is. Alright, so the engine's going to eventually start to die. There we go. It basically has died. So could we have gone at a slow rate of speed? Wow, even at like 120 miles per hour, it's holding on. This thing has so much downforce, we won't even need to be going that fast to drive on the roof. Because I'm coasting along at just above 100 still. I'm going to see what speed it takes for it to fall up. There we go. There we go, it's done. So you just go a little bit above 100 and it'll hold on, it seems like. That is amazing. I'm still in awe that that actually worked. So if we just pop it up to about 110, 120 miles per hour and then invert it, does it actually hold? Or was some of that just we had enough momentum to get upside down and it held better once it was there? Let's see. Yeah, you don't need that much speed to actually go upside down. That was about 150, a little bit faster than I said, but no problem at all. Oh! That's interesting. When you're in front of the car, it sounds much more aggressive and fast than when you're behind it. So listen to this. Kind of funny, the car actually sounds a lot cooler from the front than behind. Like behind, it just sounds a little I don't know, it just doesn't sound as fast. Like this sounds like a Formula 1 car really. The other one just sounds a little bit off. That's just interesting. I never noticed that that significant of a difference normally from the position of the camera and how the vehicle sounds. And actually, on the front right there, the wing is vibrating a little bit. That's interesting. And this tube, again, it goes forever. So let me just fix up the map and I'll be right back. Actually, I realized it's faster just to reload the map than to redo everything. So, next we're going to be using the off-road version, which I actually have not tried yet, and it sounds really wacky, but it does have some ground clearance to it. Like, that thing is lifted up, and it has different wheels, but it does not have all-wheel drive. This is just a rear-wheel drive vehicle still. I'm going to make sure electronic stability control is on with this thing, and we're going to try to go through the mud pit over here and see what happens. Now, if these tires have enough traction, I can see it getting through it, but let's see. Not enough traction. At least if we go in it like that. I kind of let the momentum just die at the start, and then we bottomed out. But if we dive in with maybe about 40 miles per hour of momentum or so, maybe even more, I don't know yet, whatever we end up hitting from backing up to here, it might work. I don't know. I don't think it will, but it might. So it looks like about 50, 60 miles per hour, and oh, not quite. Close, but not gonna make it. What about going over the rocks? Can we do that with this car? Let's see. We probably gotta go really slow with it, and maybe it will make it. That is impressive. Oh, something just broke in the front, like the wing is starting to shatter. Front wing is still attached though, and just get through it. Good. I needed extra ground clearance, so my car said, okay, WhyBeAre, you want ground clearance? I'll give you ground clearance. Here you go. This is hilarious because it just keeps bouncing and I have no steering capabilities. Like, the suspension is so ruined. Oh, now it's even more ruined. It would be interesting to see a drag version of just because you can. There isn't one, but it'd be interesting to see. And I know I was doing police chases earlier, but I should go ahead and show you guys what the police one looks like because it does look pretty neat. So just real quickly, here you go. That's the police unit. It's the real Interceptor. When they say Interceptor, this is what they mean. This is the Interceptor, man. It'll intercept anything. Land speed record cars, that's the only thing it can't catch. Pop into the air, high speed flight. Oh, this thing looks so cool when it flies. You know what we gotta do? We gotta go and take it to leap of death and let it fly. And I think at this point I've done pretty much everything I want to do. So let's go to a leap of death and see what happens. Then maybe brutal slope as well. And the only version we're going to be using here is the off-road one because we need that extra ground clearance it gives to clear the lip at the jump. Sometimes you get caught on that with cars that don't have much ground clearance. Hopefully this one will make it. So how fast are we going to be going? About 100 miles per hour, and I even hit the edge right there to really kind of give it a twist in the spin as it flied, and it flew. Whoa, we're spinning. Oh my goodness, I can't even tell what's going on here. Like, I put this at 8 times slow-mo and it still looks like it's spinning fast. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna just let it spin at full speed and I'm gonna just try to trace it by hand. Okay, it's a helicopter. It is a helicopter. Okay, it stopped being a helicopter. We can go back to it. Because I wasn't gonna keep the camera on it because you couldn't tell what was going on. That was interesting. I wonder if it's gonna do that again if I don't hit the edge of the jump to really kind of tilt it. Like, I wonder if that's what caused it or if it just does that every time when it flies because the arrow is so strong the game kind of just freaks out and doesn't know what to do. And not much is really happening here. The banana is just bouncing. Not changing in shape at all, but I'm going to let it go till it gets stuck. Or till it gets to the bottom, whichever happens, and it got stuck. Okay. And this time we're just going to hit the jump normally. I turned ESC on to make it a little bit easier to stay straight because honestly I was trying to stay straight the first time. It just has so much power on a dirt road, it's difficult. So there we go, and wow, we're just kind of gliding through the air like a plane. I don't really have much control over it, and now we are tipping upside down and diving. Ooh, what is the rear wing doing though? Oh, it's helicoptering again. It's helicoptering again. And pieces are actually flying off. It's rotating so fast, I think. I don't think it actually hit the wall just yet. Here's a way to tell. Does it have body damage really? Not as much as you would expect for the speeds we're going. Like, the speed we're going, it should do body damage like that. Alright, full speed ahead, helicopter! This one's not too bad in terms of getting you sick. The other one was just like really bad, it would get you sick because the camera's spazzing out. That one, pretty stable camera. So let's go ahead and finish this up by going to Brutal Slope 2.0. And I'm actually going to do the jump here, which I don't normally do, but I think it'll be interesting to see what the car does on a jump going 200 plus miles per hour. And again, we're going to use the off-road for the same reason. That extra ground clearance helps it clear lips. Because when you hit the jump, it's not perfectly smooth. I mean, it's smooth-ish, but when you have very little ground clearance, you can get caught on it. So there's actually 2 jumps. There's one way off to the left and then one over here. We're going to the one on the right side just because it's closer. That rear wing is a little scary. Is it going to stay on? Looks like it. So like right here, you see we bottomed out even with the extra ground clearance. Tires are popping, main engine broken, but we're flying in a really awkward way that's going to just get the car wrecked. I like how after it crashes, it still pops into the air a little bit. Like it just has so much lift, it goes up. I'm sure you could do some really nonsensical things with the amount of downforce this thing has. I mean, I already did one of them. I drove on the roof. I wonder if you could do something where you like fly upside down for a really long time. I don't know. I don't think that would work out actually. Anyways, next thing we're going to do is the 200+ mile per hour crash. And I'm going to try to hit the edge of the barrier because I think it's a little bit more fun to do that, but it's not easy. Like hitting just the edge is pretty difficult. So it looks like we're going to just top out about 230. I'm not going to worry about going faster than that because that's already ridiculously fast. And the wing is shaking once again. And let's see, can we hit just the edge? Yeah, that is perfect. Right on the edge. Just smash goes the driver. Smash goes the rest of the car. And then it's just kind of gonna... Is it gonna spin top a little bit? Looks like it might spin top a little bit. Speed it up, speed it up. And yeah, a little bit of spin top and then it's crashed. So that'll do it. Till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.